Hello and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. This one is the Game Week 16 captaincy model. So we'll have a look at the top 10 players of my model for Game Week 16. But before that, we'll have a quick look at how the Game Week 15 numbers looked. So obviously Salah and Trent, their game was cancelled. Salah was top of the model by some distance, to be fair. Nearly a whole expected point, although didn't matter in the end. Haaland was in second. He got 7 points, which for him recently isn't too bad, but against Crystal Palace that is disappointing. And then Palmer, of course, was in third. 2 penalties, 1 dodgy, controversial assist, but he gets 18 points. Ridiculously good conversion rate on penalties, by the way, so if he ever does get one, it's not similar to Watkins, whereby, albeit Watkins did score a penalty a couple of game weeks ago, but he's not good at penalties. Saka was one of only 2 players to blank in this list, apart from obviously Salah and Trent. 2 points, and yeah, that was kind of a bit disappointing from Arsenal in general, that performance. And then Bruno Fernandes in 5th. Bruno Fernandes and Mbeumo, 2 players that were probably sold relatively heavily before this game week, especially Mbeumo. But I think that they are just good keeps, to be honest. They've got everything you want. Bruno Fernandes less so at the moment. His minutes aren't quite there at the moment. I don't think he is quite that 80, 89, 90 minute player anymore. Hopefully we do see that he is, but yeah, both good for minutes, both on penalties, and both play for pretty attacking teams at the moment. So yeah, if they've got a good fixture, if they've got a home fixture as well, they'll likely be in these lists. And they did return very well, 9 points and 13 points. Watkins obviously didn't start, couldn't really. I mean, it hasn't been the case where John Duran's been getting some games. Don't get me wrong, John Duran should be getting games because he is an unbelievable player. But it hasn't been the case that he's been starting in the league. So I think having Watkins' expected minutes pretty high was fair. Maybe not so much anymore, although now that Duran has started that game, I'm not sure we do see too much rotation for Watkins, but yeah, we wait to see what happens. I mean, what we did see was that the striker did score the goal in that game. Duran started, he did score, they won 1-0. Watkins obviously came on, which is why he got the 1 point. But yeah, the thinking was there, and the model basically did like the Aston Villa striker for that game, of course, because it was against Southampton at home. Then we had Son in that Chelsea Spurs game. He got 7 points. He's ticking along, Son, to be honest. He's not doing anything like crazy. He's not getting these 18 pointers like Palmer and Saka are, but he is ticking along, and he got 7 points this week. Obviously Trent didn't get anything. Then Jared Bowen comes in at 10th. Now this is kind of, West Ham had a few good fixtures, so we did see Bowen popping up in these lists, and he managed to reward owners with 12 points. What is quite funny though is, in Game Week 15, the underlying numbers weren't as good as they were in Game Week 14. Bowen had great underlying numbers in Game Week 14, but blanked in Game Week 15. Not so good, but 12 points. But unfortunately that's the way FPL goes. That is the Game Week 15 numbers, so let's now have a look at the numbers for Game Week 16. Okay, these are the Game Week 16 numbers, and there is no surprise in the top 2. Salah and Palmer, definitely the 2 best captains this week. Both got home fixtures. Palmer has Brentford at home, Salah has Fulham at home. I've got Palmer at 86 minutes, Salah at 88. I haven't changed them for a while. Most of the numbers, or X minutes wise anyway, for these players haven't been changing too much recently, just because they seem about right now. At the beginning of the season, obviously a lot changes with expected minutes, but at the moment I think most of the players, we kind of know what we're going to get from them. So yeah, also both players above 7 expected points, which is, I'd say, quite rare. That's quite high expected points for both of these. We usually see that the top player has in the 6s somewhere. Like last week, Salah was 6.34, I believe, and Palmer was high fives, 5.8 something. So to have them both above 7 is actually quite rare. So they're both great options. Obviously, we know that the Brentford defence, or Brentford in general, away from home, are so much worse than they are at home. So this is a very, very good fixture for Palmer. The Fulham defence is quite good, but it's a home game for Liverpool. Liverpool are just unbelievable at the moment, pretty much unstoppable. So yeah, it's no surprise that they're both up there. It's very close between them, only 0.16 expected points between them. So that's close enough to basically be a toss-up. You can choose between them. Haaland is in third. Man United at home. Man United defence isn't unbelievable, so it's no surprise that Haaland's up there, although the City attack, or City in general, aren't great at the moment. So I probably wouldn't go for Haaland. The chances are you do own Palmer or Salah, so they're the ones to go for. Saka is also much lower than I thought he'd be. Saka's on 86 minutes, so I expected Saka to be closer to Palmer and Salah this week. Everton at home is a good fixture, albeit Everton's defence isn't that bad. It's not as bad as people think it is, really. The underlines aren't horrendous. At the beginning of the season they were bad, but now they've kind of sorted things out a bit, so I somewhat get why Saka is down a little bit, but I did expect him to be closer to the top 2, albeit 5.88 is pretty high. In most weeks, that will get you top 2 or 3 at least. Last week, for example, that would have put him in second, behind Salah, who didn't play. So, still very, very high. Then Son is in 5th, just behind Saka. He's got a fantastic fixture, obviously Southampton away. Anytime anyone plays Southampton, it's obviously a great fixture for them. So it's no surprise he's in here. Problem is, we just haven't seen those big hauls from Son, so I probably wouldn't be putting captaincy on him, but it's a great fixture. Then you've got 2 Newcastle boys, Isak and Gordon. I've got Isak at 88 minutes and Gordon at 86. Isak, when he starts, does tend to just play 90, whereas Gordon sometimes comes off, so that's the reason they're there. Fantastic fixture with Leicester at home, obviously. So they're both very high in this. Again, the top 6, well, the top 7 is 5.34 is 7th. That is ridiculously high. It's a high scoring week for this captaincy model, really. Then you get the drop off to Trent. I've got him at 80 minutes. That might be a little bit high, given that Slot did say like he's going to have to rest him at times, but he's had quite a rest now, so he should get some good minutes anyway. Then Jackson is at 78. Jackson's actually one where it is quite tough to choose his next minutes because he comes off at such different times every week. One week he's off at 70 minutes, the next week he comes off at like 85, so it's really tough to get a gauge on those expected minutes, but I've got him at 78. He's obviously great for this week, but again, we just could see that early sub. That's the reason he is only at 78 expected minutes. And then we've got Solanke, obviously same fixture as Son, Southampton away. He does get great minutes when he's not ill anyway. If he starts, he will almost certainly get 90 minutes. So yeah, very, very good option this week. That's the numbers for this week. Salah and Palmer are the top 2. If you think I've got anybody's expected minutes wrong, then do let me know. But that's all for this one. If you like the video, do hit like, do subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.